This is PJ Souls, and you are totally listening to Without Your Head, horror radio.
Welcome back to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm still Nasty Neil.
And I remain Terrible Troy.
And now we're joined, he's returning his third appearance on the show, horror icon Tony Moran.
Woohoo! Nice.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hey. So it's good to have you back. You've been busy since the last time we talked to you.
Yeah, I've been quite busy, that's for sure. Yes. Yeah, to say the least. Yeah.
So
my daughter now lives with me now. My daughter now lives with me, so I'm really busy. Yeah.
Right. That's why you're doing all the movies. You gotta help the daughter. So Death House is coming out, I believe March 2nd. It was gonna be this weekend, March 2nd,
right?
For Death House. The cast is insane. Like when I first saw the cast, I actually thought this wasn't a real movie. I was like, well, no movie's gonna have all these people in. But then I saw the trailer, and I know it exists. So how did you get involved in Death House?
Felissa Rose turned me on to it. Do you know who she is?
Of course, yeah. We just saw her in Charlotte a couple days ago.
Oh, yeah. I did that last year, the first year in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's the one that turned me on to it.
So, when did you and Felissa meet? Like, how long have you guys known each other?
Felissa, my God. I think I've known Felissa for at least 4 or 5 years, at least. Yeah,
like
maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe.
Yeah, was that through the convention scene?
Oh yeah. I met her through the convention scene, and then we got to be really close friends. And then I didn't even know, but she lives out in this town that I live out in. It's crazy. It's too funny.
That's weird.
I've never even seen her around. You know.
So who do you work with in the movie? Because I know it's a big cast and some of the scenes are were filmed apart from everybody else. So who do you work with in your scenes?
It's Kane Hodder and I.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. We have a scene together, just him and I.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us anything about your role? I know it's you don't want to give away too much about the movie.
If I say anything, then I give too much away.
Sure. I totally understand.
I wish I could. I just can't.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. So I don't want anything spoiled myself either. So have you seen the finished movie? Have you seen the
No, I have
movie?
not. No, I have not.
That'll be cool to see it yourself for the first time. Are you going to be at any of the premieres?
Yeah, I'm going on March 2nd.
To the one in LA?
Yeah, in Van Nuys, San Fernando Valley. Yeah.
So I assume you're looking forward to it.
Oh, I can't wait. This is a big deal, this movie, It's a really big deal, this movie.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about seeing yourself on the big screen?
Yeah, I'm not a real big fan of watching myself on TV or on the screen. No, it's just not my thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'll do it. But I'm just not. It's just not a big deal for me. It never has been either. It's always been that way for me. I don't know why. I just have this deal where I just, it's sort of like it's not that I don't like myself. I do, It's more of like it's more like it's more like a thing where I just I don't want to know too much about myself on screen, and what I do, because then I'll be too self-conscious maybe in something that later that I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Along those lines,
makes sense, actually.
Yeah. What was it like then to watch the documentary that was made about you?
That was pretty funny. I didn't enjoy that either, though. So.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it either.
There's no escaping you in that one, right?
No, there really isn't. Yeah, there really isn't. I kind of stick out like a sore thumb in that one. Yeah.
What was the director like for Death House, Harrison Smith?
Oh, Harrison's a really nice guy. Really, really good guy. Really down to earth. Not affected. Great attitude. Really, really polite and mannered and stuff. It's just unreal. Just really, really good guy and real professional. And I did mine in my scene in one take, and that was it. And I was done. I waited. I waited maybe I don't know, a couple hours to film, and then it took like 2 minutes to and then I was done. Kane looks at me and he goes, "One take, Moran." I'm like, "Yeah, man. See you later, man."
So, were you close at all with Gunnar Hansen, who the original idea for the movie came from Gunnar?
Well, I don't know if I was like close to him, but we were good friends. We always talked, him and I. We always got along really well, and a nice guy and all that. And it's too bad, what happened. But yeah, I was friends with him. I wouldn't say I was like his best friend or anything, but we were good friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I assume from the conventions.
Yeah, that's right. I met him through the convention circuit.
Yeah. What was that like for you once you started to do the conventions? Like, how did that like change your life?
Oh, jeez, God, man, it completely changed everything in my life. It's because I had no idea of the popularity.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I had no idea, and I started doing them, and yeah, it just changed everything. Because then I started doing movies again, but independent movies, not Hollywood. I wasn't really interested in Hollywood,
mm-hmm.
and meeting all these people, from all over the country and Europe and stuff is amazing. Yeah, it changed everything. It really changed everything, and it really opened up my eyes. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
I would think idea.
You mentioned all over the world, and I would think all different age ranges. Like people who grew up with the movie, people who saw it, 10 years ago, maybe kids who are now seeing it.
Right. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, there is no age difference. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
People don't care about that. I mean, it's the kids just love it. There is no like range for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's weird to think that so many horror movies have come since, obviously, and that a lot of the classics like Halloween still hold up, and it doesn't matter, like I said, what age you are, it's still special to people. And do you have any thoughts on why that is? Why why the movie's impactful to anyone?
Well, I do. I have some thoughts on it, and one of them I never thought of, but Donald Pleasance brought up something years ago, of course, that he thought that one of the reasons why it's so popular to people, whatever the age, is because it's the fear of dying, and this movie was like, Michael Myers never dies, or if he dies for a second, it comes back to life, or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. The immortality of it, and you live forever type of thing, and I thought that was really interesting because that makes a lot of sense, and I also think, because I don't know about the other Halloweens. I only know about Halloween 1 and 2. There is no real blood in Halloween 1. There is no blood except for on her shoulder. So it's not a gore fest. It feels like it when you're watching it, but it isn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it's left up to the imagination, and things like that. And also just there's no blood, and I think that with that, and also the mystery of Michael Myers, the combination of all that, and a mask, and a mask, and a mask that doesn't look like anything. It's not a scary looking mask or anything, but it is frightening. Once you go, you're watching the movie. So I just think of all of those things has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me say about the mystery. I always like the Loomis character because I think that really sells like how evil, Michael Myers is, because it's, this guy man of science who eventually just gives up and just realizes that this person is pure evil. And, that character, I think, really, and also, like you said, the mask, it's not overtly scary, which I think makes it scarier because,
exactly.
In the remake, it's this giant 7-foot tall guy with this crazy. Of course, you'd be scared of that. Who wouldn't be scared of that?
Oh yeah.
But when it's when it's
that, no matter
like
what.
When it's fairly normal looking person, and then it's like, well, this could happen anywhere.
Exactly. It's more of a, like you just said, it's more realistic in the sense that it could happen. You know what I mean? And even his movements aren't like real, scary movements, or even he doesn't have a hatchet, or anything like that. He's got this knife, a long one, but it's a knife,
right?
That you'd have in the kitchen.
Exactly. Something that would be in any kitchen, just like the kid at the beginning. He could be any kid in any neighborhood.
Exactly. It's not a big old machete or hatchet or anything like that. It's just something that's everyday thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you know anything about the newest one that's coming out?
Nope. Well, here's what I heard, and I heard it from my manager. He found out that, or at least this is what he heard, was the movie's going to be about what if Jamie Lee Curtis never knew Michael Myers? Or something along those lines, where they don't have any kind of connection or interaction or anything like that.
So I think it's supposed to skip the second, just the direct sequel to the first one.
Right.
So I know Nick Castle is reprising his role. Did anyone ever talk to you about doing anything in it?
No, I don't think I'm in their clique. You know what I'm saying, pal?
I got you.
I'm not part of their clique. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand.
So it doesn't seem like it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So
I never was I was never in their clique.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I just like I don't, when I, with Nick Castle, we've done a couple conventions together. I don't hang around with him,
Sure.
He seems like a nice guy, I guess, but I don't make it a point to like get in with him, because if I get in with him, I'll get in with John Carpenter, and and you know what I'm saying? It's never been my style. You know what I mean? I mean, when even down to when I did the movie, and I was ashamed of doing it because it was like such, a mask and, the B movie, horror movie, which is back then in 78, that's just one step above soft porn. You know what I mean?
Right.
And seriously, that's how it was viewed in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
And, I, my little sister, she didn't even know I did the movie until 2006.
Wow.
I didn't tell anybody.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just not my, it's my style,
Yeah.
So, and it's sort of like, so anyway, we filmed in April, then in like August or so, I get this invitation to go to the premiere for the cast and crew, and I didn't go. I just threw the invitation away. I thought that was the funniest thing I ever heard in my life. This piece of shit is going to have a fucking preview for the cast and crew. What the fuck, I mean, it's a piece of shit, And I figured it was, if anything, it'd only be in the drive-in for a week or two, and that'd be it. Nobody would ever see this piece of shit, you know? So, I mean, you know, that's how I thought back then, you know? And
sure,
because it is a brilliant movie, but you know, back then, I mean, they never told me, you know, on the interview I even had to wear a mask until after I signed the contract, and then they told me I had to wear a mask, you know? I'm like, what? You know? And I, you know, and back then that was the very first time they used a mask. They always used makeup to do shit, you know? So it was the first time they used a mask. So it's just really weird, you know? It was a weird experience for me, and it was, you know, it was like strange. It was great. I love the people, but it was like, oh, you know, this thing is kind of, you know, what am I doing? You know,
you know, Ivan, when you say that, because I did a panel once for Dawn of the Dead, and Ken Faree kind of talked about that. He said, you know, you guys all now love this movie, but when I made it, it like ruined his career because no one would hire him after that. And he said even friends of his like stopped being friends of him because he said that back then, if you made a movie like that, like he said exactly what he said, it was like just a step up from doing like not hardcore porn, but like you said, soft porn.
Yeah, soft porn. Yeah, no, it's exactly right. Yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, my only thing that was really good about it was I did wear a mask, so nobody knew. You know. So
along those lines, are you surprised, like, because today, like, horror movies are mainstream. You go to like Walmart and get, you know, Halloween shirts and like you can buy them in little kid sizes. You know, like little kids can wear horror movie shirts.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
What are your thoughts on all that? Yeah, it is very strange because I grew up watching those movies, but it was always like it wasn't mainstream at all. It was like the weird kids like those movies, but now it's everywhere.
Yeah. You know, I think it's good and bad. You know, I think it's good because, you know, they're movies. They're not, you know, it's not like, you know, fucking some disease, you know. It's you know, it's a legitimate genre, you know, and it should get more respect. But on the flip side, it's also, and this is just like a personal thing. It's sort of like, well, but you know, being so mainstream though, now it's like it takes the mystery out of all the horror movies that wouldn't be. There wasn't so many of them, you know, so that when there would be one that came out, you'd be like, oh shit, I can't wait to see this, you know, like when The Exorcist came out for me, you know, when The Exorcist came out, I was just like, you know, and to this day, that movie still freaks me out, man. It just still scares me because I was brought up Catholic, I guess, you know. Yeah. But it was and Psycho. Psycho is my all-time
my favorite. That's my favorite as well.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And in fact, I was like, I had a photo shoot today. And I had to stay, you know, really still, of course, you know, doing these still photography shots. And she's a friend of mine, and I'm sitting there, and she's trying to figure out what setting she wants and all that, you know. And I've got my, you know, I'm frozen, right? And I'm like, I told her, I go, yes, like Anthony Hopkins at the end of the movie, you know, there's a fly in there, and I'm not even gonna move, you know. It's like, I mean, it's just the best, you know what I mean? It's just the best, you know. And Anthony Perkins is a weirdo, anyways, you know, or he was. And I met him in an elevator one time in L.A. At a big old agency type thing, and we didn't really talk, but I think he was gay because he kind of looked me over a few times and stuff when I was young. I was real young, you know. But he was creepy even in the elevator, I thought, you know. You know, but a brilliant actor. Man, right? Yeah, brilliant actor though. Yeah.
That does remind me of our guest earlier, Patrick Barnett, wanted to say hello. He said he knows a lot of same people as you, but you guys have never met. And he also brought up The Exorcist, oddly enough.
He said that was his favorite horror flick.
Yeah, that's Yeah, it's well, Psycho's my number one, and then Exorcist and The Shining are like tied for two. You know, number two.
Yeah. But like just like you said, though, it's still freaky. It still holds up.
Oh yeah. And if you're Catholic, you know, with The Exorcist, you're really screwed. You're really screwed. You know, because I went to Catholic school and everything growing up. You know, I was an altar boy, the whole 9 yards, bro.
Oh.
You know, and I mean, I went 8 years. I never should have gone there. I was like the last person that you should send to a Catholic school. You know what I mean? Because I was a wild kid. You know what I mean? Just wild. You know. And I swear to God, guys, I had 2 months left to graduate, and I got kicked out after 8 years. 2 months, man. I couldn't finish it, man. I just couldn't finish it, and I got kicked out.
Your limit.
Oh yeah. So
my dad was not happy.
I bet he wasn't.
I assume you're not Catholic today.
No, I'm not anything. Yeah, I don't do any of that shit. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think there was a quote. I can't remember the exact quote by. Oh God, I'm 60 years old, so I fucking forget everything at the tip of the lead singer of fucking Motorhead. What's his fucking name, man?
Lemmy.
Yeah, Lemmy. Yeah. He had a quote about religion and church and shit like that. He's like. And it's like he just basically was saying, anything that happens is my responsibility. It's not religion, and it's not the fucking church. They're not going to save me. It's nobody's going to do it but me. You know, it's not anybody else's responsibility, and it's like a fairy tale type of thing. You know, it's like there you
go. So I do want to ask about some people I know. The guy. From Ungovernable Films. I know you've done 2 movies with them. And,
he hasn't called in yet?
I'm friends with him. No, he said he's going to. I don't know what he's doing, what Paul's doing out there. But let me text him. I'll tell him to call in.
Maybe just acting like a snob or something, huh? I love Paul.
How did you... I do too. I'm actually making a documentary with Paul currently. About
you are? Good for you.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All of his Ungovernable Films?
Yeah, it's about independent filmmaking in Boston. And I had him on the show a few years ago, and we just really clicked. And then he had come out and filmed the rap party for Streets Run Red, which you're in. And then he liked the stuff I filmed, so that's on the Blu-ray, is like the specials. And then we started doing this. But so how did you get involved? How did you come into contact with Paul?
God, how did I? That's a good question. Hey, babe, do you remember how I got involved with Debbie? Oh, she's got her headphones in. Debbie, how did I get involved with Dave Sullivan and Paul for the Ungovernable Films and all that? How'd that happen? God, I can't remember now. I think I probably met him at Rock and Shock or something.
Oh, that's probably
at a convention. I probably met Dave at Rock and Shock or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't remember, and I can't remember exactly, but I probably met him there. I would imagine I met him there, and I think what happened though is that after that, then they contacted me through Facebook Messenger or something like that. But yeah, I think I met him through there, and and we hit it off. Him, Dave, and Paul and I, we just hit it off completely, just like we grew up together or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're
both
great
guys.
Great. Oh yeah. Just down, completely down to earth, and punk rock down to their souls and stuff. Like that's how I am. You know what I mean? Don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? And not impressed with it. Not impressed with anybody. Especially myself. You know what I mean? So I dug it. I dug it a lot. And then Paul's films, man. Oh boy, they're brilliant. But boy, oh boy. Well, there's not really a but to it. It's just that man, he really pushes that shit to the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, because there's a lot. Like you said, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of gross stuff and all this stuff. But there's also a lot of messages in the movies.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. No, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's got it, and he has a lot of opinions and has a lot of principles, and that are, he's really a solid guy, just like Dave is. Really solid. And not just all over the map, or I mean, exactly who these two guys are. When you talk to them.
Yeah. Is that Paul on the line right now?
Yo, hey, this is Jake Vaughn. What's up?
Oh, all right, Jake. How you doing?
Hey, Jake. Hey, Tony. What's up? It's Jake. Remember me?
Yeah, weren't you the guy that was fucking hung over in my scene and you couldn't get your fucking lines right, bro?
Oh, no, I made the mistake. I memorized all your lines, man. I forgot which character I was playing that night.
Sure.
Yeah, what's up? It's Paul. I'm just messing with you. How's it going, guys?
Very
good, man. How you doing?
I've been good.
Yeah, we're just chit-chatting about you.
What's that?
Your ears were burning, pal?
Yeah, I heard you talking about. I was listening in. I was letting you guys, talk a little bit without me chiming in to make sure you weren't going to talk shit. So, you guys were.
No, we won't talk shit behind your back.
Oh, I know.
We'll do right to your face.
Exactly.
I was trying to
remember, Paul. Do you remember, Paul, how you guys met and get in contact?
Yeah, how did that?
It was all Dave. I mean, Tony, we had a list of people that we were interested in casting. Like a lot of B movie guys, horror guys, etc. And your name was on there. And I think I just said, Dave, call as many people from this list as you can and see what's up. And by the time he got through the list, he was like, all right, Tony Moran's our guy. He's the coolest guy on the list, and he's totally down. So the rest is history.
Oh, okay. So I didn't meet him at Rock and Shock or anything like that?
I don't think so. I think the first time we met was at, what was that, TGI Fridays or something, or Chili's? And,
yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. With
Nick Kramer.
Yeah. I do remember that now.
Oh yeah.
Well, I remember that. I just couldn't remember how we met. I guess he just called me, huh? Or he had to message me through Facebook first. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
and then
probably.
we called. Yeah.
I don't think he actually knows how to converse with somebody with his mouth. I think it's all through Facebook. His entire life is on Facebook. for better and worse. I think Paul on his phone. He actually had hired somebody that day just to talk for him.
Yeah, I remember the hotel he got me to was really nice too. It was a great hotel. I remember that.
Oh, up in Burlington, yeah. I was jealous. Every time we got to his office, I was like, oh, I wish I could stay there.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah. But I had a. What's that?
That was all Tracy's. Tracy's the one that makes sure everyone's
handled all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Dave would throw everyone in a doghouse if we could. Tracy made sure.
I've stayed in a couple basements out in the East Coast before, so I didn't want to bring that up though. You know what I mean? Oh, you have? Oh, I got a basement for you.
So when you had him in mind for Ungovernable Force, did you always have him picked out to be the mob boss, or you just wanted to include him in some role?
I think that the mob boss role was one of the few roles we had kind of reserved for whoever we ended up getting. So I think that we didn't really know who we were going to be able to afford, who we would be able to connect with, whose schedules would work. So we held off on casting most of the roles, not all the roles. And then when we kind of realized who we were working with, or who we were able to work with, we had like a few roles set aside that we've been saving just in case. And the Mob Boss was definitely one of them. And actually, Debbie Rochon was originally, I was going to write her a role, just write a role in as one of the, like a mob boss's wife or something like that. And actually, there's a version of the script that has that in there. But then I think I realized that making her character, she played this character, Dr. Galton, that was supposed to be a guy. And I was like, oh, you know what would be cool is making it like a girl, like a female Nazi doctor.
That's right. I remember hearing about that.
That's really cool.
Right, I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that the role of the mob boss was one of the ones we had kind of like set aside and held off on casting until we knew who we were going to get, and then it was a perfect fit, so it worked out.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that was a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. And you had a lot of dialogue for that scene, and I from what I understand, I remember either Paul or Dave told me that. Like you did that, and like there's not a lot of cuts in the big dialogue scene you had.
Right, yeah. So I'm sorry. What are you saying?
Well, I just mentioned that, but what did you think about playing a mob boss? Had you ever done a role like that before?
No, and it was my first time, and I just was like chomping at the bit. I couldn't wait to do that. I mean, I thought, man, I know how to do that shit. And I've been waiting my whole life to try something like that, And and there was a mob guy that played. It was one of the extras there too.
And there was a guy in the room that was actually in the mafia.
Yeah, a gangster from Southie. And he gave me a compliment. He said that I really like your accent. I'm like, cool, man, cool. So he bought it. Everybody seemed to buy it. Say what?
He said, "Hey, which family are you from?"
Yeah, right.
No, I know Paul referenced it when he called in, but I did have this in my notes because I heard stories about that you had some differences with the lead in Ungovernable Force.
Who, I did or Paul?
Yeah, you did, I believe, Tony.
Oh, had some differences.
Jake. Yeah.
Oh, Jake, that piece of shit. Yeah, fucking that fucking guy comes over hungover and he can't fucking remember his lines. He couldn't remember his lines. I was like, what, dude? Are you kidding me? And Paul knows me. Paul knows me very well. And I'm the least affected type of actor or horror guy, probably, right? That you probably met, right? I'm no different than you. Yeah, I'm no different than you or anybody else. Yeah. So it wasn't that. It wasn't like I was being a prima donna. It wasn't. It had nothing to do about that. It was like, dude, I would never do this to you. That's just respect. You don't do this shit. And a few times it's like 3 or 4 times. Okay, no problem. But I mean, really? I mean, again, you can't get this fucking line down, bro.
The worst was and Jake and I we're friends, so I can say this. And I've messed with him a few times about that day. But he showed up. He didn't show up actually. He was sleeping way past his call time. And so we ended up sending Alex to go, like, basically kick. I basically said to Alex, if you have to kick his door in, like, we only have Tony for one day, and I'll replace the fucking door. We need Jake here now. So Alex drove to, I think, like, JP or Mission Hill, wherever Jake lived, and did just short of kicking his door, and he was pounding on the door, and finally Jake said, "Oh, hey, what time is it?" And Alex was like, "Get in the fucking car." And then, the rest is, he didn't remember, like, any of his lines. He was hungover, you name it.
Right.
I got to tell you, Tony, the funniest thing was a few weeks later, we had the scene where where Jake's character like got his ass handed to him in the mosh pit, and it was all pretty real. We were all kicking and punching him in the pit, and I mean he knew we were going to be rough, and he was all right with it, but he was like, "Oh man, you guys are really rough on me," and we're like, "Yeah, well, you know, that's what you get." And then a few days later, I get this text, and it just said, "Hey, I heard you beat up Jake Vaughn. Good job." And I'm like, "Who's texting me from an 818 number?" I knew that was LA. So, you go, Tony Moran. I'm like, "Oh, what's up?" that was funny.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, it's not like I didn't like the guy. I liked the guy, you know. It wasn't that. It wasn't like a personal thing. It was just just strictly business, man. But and you know, you saw me, Paul, man. I was fucking. How patient was I?
How what?
How patient was I for a long time?
Oh yeah, you very patient. In fact, when you finally we're like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? We were like, thank you. Someone said it.
Yeah, right. I was patient for a long time, and then it was just like, okay, this is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous, dude. You got to get your shit going here, man. So, anyway, fun times though. I love working with Paul and Dave, man. It was just the fucking best. The best.
The feeling is mutual.
Yeah, because here's what happens, man. Because when you're involved with a filmmaker like Paul and Dave and a couple others that I know, but more like Dave and Paul, because they're more like me than other people that I work with. Then I get a sense of of relaxation and trust, and I can do my thing, you know, because I've got complete trust in the situation, and I don't have to worry about anything. You know what I mean? And the relaxation and just being able to be me, you know, when whatever I'm doing with the role is so important that, you know, it's sort of like a lot of actors, they don't, you know, they get these accolades, you know. And what they sometimes forget to say is that well, if it wasn't for the crew though, meaning the director all the way down to the lighting and sound, if it wasn't for all those guys making me feel so fucking comfortable, there's no way I'd be able to do that shit in the way I wanted to do it.
Exactly.
You know,
effort.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, the feeling, we feel the same way. I mean, and that's like my biggest thing is, and I'm not, by saying this, I'm not implying that talent isn't one of your fortes, because it certainly is. But before I look for talent in an actor, I look for how easy is this person to work with. I'd rather work with someone who's, you know, blind, deaf, and dumb, but shows up on time and knows their cues, than someone who's like a perfect Shakespearean actor. And I mean, we lucked out with you, Tony. You're both, but.
Thank you. But an asshole to work with, I know. But an asshole to work with, it's not worth it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I hear you. You know, so you know, it just means a lot to me. You know, so when you offered me the second film, I was like, oh yes, you know, I was like, yes. Yeah. And then I flipped you a freebie on it, you know what I mean? Because I loved you guys so much, you know.
Oh yeah, so, exactly. That was awesome.
Yeah, and it's a much different role.
It really was, and it was so cool, you know, experimenting. You know, with the first one, you know, we were crunched for time. We were on the second one too, but you know, we had you know a lot going on. We had to get it done no matter what. But this one, I felt like we were a lot better equipped to kind of experiment with it and try new things, and you know what I mean?
Right, cool. Right.
It was, you know, it was wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I got to play something completely different. You know, the reporter was completely different.
Yeah,
than anything I've ever done before.
Going back to what you said about trusting Paul and Dave, if you didn't have that, would you? If someone offered like a role like that, would you have hesitated but since you trust these guys, you thought, well, this will work.
I probably. Well, okay. That there's different levels of what you're talking about, though. So let's say, well, I've been there. I mean, where I don't trust them as much, who I was working with, and I don't know them that well, and I don't quite sync with them on a personal level either. They're fine people and all that, but I just don't get them or whatever. And I still work, and it's fine, but it's just not as free. So you see, as an actor, the freer you feel, and the more trusted that you feel, and more comfortable you feel. Well, shit, man, you can do whatever. There's no limit. You know what I mean? And then that will affect the other actors also, and that'll also affect the crew. You know what I mean? But if it's an uncomfortable situation where it's really no fault of anybody, it's just we don't sync or whatever, we just don't understand each other or whatever it is. And I've been there a number of times too on films. Well, it's fine. It's just not as a great as experience as Dave and Paul and me get to have. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's just not. It just isn't. Yeah. And that's set in stone now. So.
Mm-hmm.
It'll never change with us three.
Yeah, have you seen Streets Run Red, the finished movie?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
All right.
Haven't seen it.
I didn't send that to you yet, Tony?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Remind me on Facebook. I'll send it to you.
Okay, well, appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I must have dropped the ball. I had meant to. But
not a problem.
Yeah,
I knew sooner or later I'd get it.
What's that?
I knew sooner or later I'd get it.
Of course. Neil came to the screening, had a chance to see it, I think.
Yeah, nice. I think I've seen it 3 or 4 times now. I saw it at Dave's house, and then I saw it twice when you did the premiere.
That's right. Nice. Yeah, Neil was part of our test audience.
Oh, yeah. Cool. What do you think? What did you think of my character, Neil?
I thought it was great. I thought, like I said, it was totally different, and it was cool to see a different side of you, and it totally worked in the movie. There's you and who's the actor who's the Paul, the actor he's also a wrestler.
Oh my God.
But yeah, both you guys are great. Like nice comic relief in the film.
Yeah, we had good. Him and I had good chemistry. Yeah.
I like that guy a lot too. I think he's very funny in any of Paul's movies.
Yeah. Yeah, and he always ends up making a larger than life connection with his cohorts on screen. Mike does. Yeah. But it was cool to see that you be that person this time. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was incredible. He was so much fun to work with, man. Jesus Christ.
Really?
Because he just is not shy about anything. And that's just fucking and that's perfect. That's
we
perfect.
have him peeing in his own mouth in Honky Holocaust.
Oh my God.
No, that's a skill.
Shit.
Yeah.
Tony, I don't know if you know this, I'm actually almost finished working on like a little behind the scenes documentary from Streets Run Red that we were filming while we were shooting it.
Neil was talking to me about that. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I'm putting the finishing touches on it now.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Good idea. Great idea.
I hadn't even thought of that until you just said it, and I was like, oh, you know what? Did I see Tony yesterday? Oh, no, I was editing footage of Tony behind the
scenes. So I see
I'm glad
would like to work together something. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm just glad I got an outside opinion from you, Neil, about my character in that movie, because I was taking a huge chance on that one, man. I was pushing the limits on that one. You know what I mean? But my instincts were just telling me to go for it and go that route, and I was like, all right, So I'm glad it worked out. Worked out.
Yeah, and you could tell you're totally committed to the role, so it definitely really works then.
Yeah, no leakages in it. Yeah, no holes in it.
Yeah,
it was funny because my wife Selena was doing the wardrobe, and I was like, "Hey, so how's Tony's wardrobe coming?" Because of course, I don't know if everybody out in the podcast world knows this, but we don't see you until the night before we shoot, and then you're gone 2 days later. So we have like almost no time in face to face to prepare for the role.
That's right. That's right.
So I know you and Selena were talking about wardrobe, and I had this idea of your character in mind. Like, it was very like, kind of dynamic a character as you brought to the table. So when she said, "Oh yeah, he has his whole wardrobe picked out and he's really specific about it," I was like, "Hey, if he knows what he's doing, then that's great. Tell him to show up, and we'll have that stuff ready for him." And then you showed up, and it was a completely different character than I had envisioned, and probably about 100 times better. I was like, "This is amazing. I had never thought of this."
Well, thanks, pal. Thanks. Yeah. That was a good time, man. That was a fun time. And I took it seriously. Cool. Don't get me wrong, man. I did. But it was a fucking blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah.
So I talked to the lead kid, the black kid, because he had to do one of the scenes, and he was really nervous that day. And I talked to him for a while, and try to calm him down and stuff, and try to chill him out a little bit because he was pretty nervous. But he did. Oh, yeah, he's okay.
He was cool. He was really intense.
Yeah,
with that role. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Paul, how can you find Ungovernable Force and Streets Run Red?
Are you asking me that?
Yeah. So people out there can how can they buy it or find it?
Streets Run Red. Well, it's hopefully hitting festivals soon. We just submitted to several dozen festivals, several more to go once they open up. So once we start hearing back, we'll be letting people know on Facebook and on our website, ungovernablefilms.com. And I'm sure we'll be tweeting about it and all the other social media stuff that I have no idea how to use. But my cohorts
Neither do I, bro.
There you go. So yeah, Facebook, Ungovernable Films, and then ungovernablefilms.com is what I'd recommend if you want to find out what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
And Ungovernable Force is on DVD and Blu-ray, right?
That is, yes. That's already out on VHS, DVD and Blu-ray. DVD and Blu-ray can be bought, on Amazon and through Brinkvision, the distributor. And then we sell the VHS tapes on our website for anyone that wants to buy those. And they're very limited edition, and we only have like less than a dozen left, I think.
No,
I bet you that's a big seller right there, man.
Oh, big time. Huge collection.
Yeah, VHS. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, cool.
And then Honky Holocaust, on Blu-ray and everything, but and that's through Troma.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for calling in, Paul. And will you guys be working together in the future?
Hopefully. I got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised to wake up 50 years from now and find out we never worked to get together again. So I'm sure it'll happen.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Absolutely.
Right.
Beautiful, Paul. Great talking to you, pal.
Likewise, my man. Good to hear from you, Tony.
I love you, buddy. I love you, man.
You too, man. Much love from Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys again.
Likewise. Neil, good to talk to you too, man.
Yeah, of course. And I'll be seeing you soon.
Absolutely. All right. Peace out, guys.
See you, man.
Bye. Good night.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
It was great. And we'll have to do it again sooner than 5 years. We'll have you back.
Yeah, sooner than 5 years for sure. For sure. Yeah. I agree.
All right. Yeah.
I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. I love having you on. It's always a good time. Yeah. Death House is on the March 2nd, and he mentioned the Ungovernable Film stuff, and you can find Tony Moran. Just search Tony Moran. I'm sure you can find you all over Facebook or wherever.
Yeah, and Instagram, and it's Twitter. It's pretty easy. Pretty easy to find me.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you doing this.
Well, no, I appreciate you asking me and having me on. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Thanks again.
Okay. Have a good one.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Paul McLarney from Ungovernable Films, and you're listening to Without Your Head.